Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me. I'm laughing for a multitude of reasons. I'm happy to be here. I guess that's a big one, honestly. And we have a lot to talk about. And some of this is it's almost comical, honestly. So, post market wrap up Thursday, July 11th, 2024. So, the news is let's start off with this. This big inflation report that we got today. This is a headline from Market Watch. Right off the bat, soon as this CPI number came in, shows retail level US inflation halted in its tracks. Really? Let's see. Let's dig a little deeper into this. This is CNBC, again, another member of the propaganda ministry. Here's the inflation breakdown for 2024. Let's start off with this. The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, which apparently halted in its tracks, rose 3% in June, from a year earlier. So how is a rise of 3% halted? Can someone here who's maybe a little smarter than Greg Mannarino let me know? So this is interesting, this breakdown here. So consumer prices are rising. We halted nothing again. Okay, now the prices for staples such as food at home, gasoline, new leases, and rents have not changed. It gets better than that. Now, I always tell everybody that the truth is always hidden in plain sight. This is the United States core consumer prices with the new data from today. Okay, you can see this right on Trading Economics. I didn't make this up. And I circled the top, and then I'm going to go over this chart. So again, core consumer prices in the United States increased in June, blah, blah, blah. Nothing has gone down. Now, I want to show you this. Do you see anything halting, or do you see this continuing to rise? Yes, it is. Okay, so understand that you are once again being lied to on a grand scale, and there's a reason behind it that's only you understand, those of you that follow this blog. Now, let's just look at the MMRI real quick. On the back of a halted, not inflation here, we saw very interesting phenomenon. A miracle happened. Somehow, a mystery. I can't solve it. Maybe you can help me. The 10-year yield dropped through the floor, and the U.S. dollar, also on a relative strength basis, fell. The Dixie now firmly below 105, and that, of course, drove like a pile driver the MMRI lower. I wonder who's doing all that. Oh, yeah, maybe it's the Fed buying all the debt, going out of their way to weaken the dollar, and the propaganda. Let's talk more about that real quick. Okay, we have a few things we have to cover here. So here's a headline again. This is from today. Consumer prices cool further. In other words, prices have been coming down, but now it's even more pronounced. How about no? I just proved it to you. Inflation continues to rise, 3%. Versus a year ago. You can't make this stuff up. Anyway, this plays right into, again, another piece of propaganda. Cooling inflation sparks Treasury rally. In other words, the drop that we witnessed today in the 10-year yield. Oh, this inflation is getting lower. No, this is the Fed buying it all and weakening the dollar as we move forward. Now, here's another one. This is where we're leading to. So, tame U.S. June CPI, which nothing is tame. Smooth path for Fed ease. Okay, let me explain this to you. What did I write? Justification to buy more debt. So the propaganda ministry is trying to convince you yet again that inflation is coming down. It's dropping. It's cooling. It's easing. Whatever words they want to use. Meanwhile, the polar opposite is totally true. So what this is doing here is giving the Federal Reserve an excuse to inflate. That's all this is, to continue to devalue the currency, create even more inflation. And they're setting up, again, the mainstream media here along, Jeffrey, thank you, buy it all, exactly, to, again, lie to you. All people want, in fact, I wrote this down. Where did I write it down? I wrote it somewhere. It doesn't even matter. All people want is the truth. And we can't get the truth anywhere from anyone. Again, it's all propaganda. So again, what this is setting up here is for the Federal Reserve to give them yet another reason to inflate on an epic scale. Here's another one. As inflation cools, this is CNBC trying to convince you. We just found out it's going up. It is not cooling. It did not halt. Estimate for 2025 Social Security cost of living adjustment goes down. So even though in reality prices are going up by their own numbers, 3%, but it's halted now, those of you who are getting Social Security can expect a very small, if any, adjustment because inflation is cooling. You know it is because they're telling you, even though it's not true. Giuseppe, thank you. Do you see where this is going? What did I write here? A justification for a smaller cost of living adjustment. Imagine my shock. Imagine your shock. Now, this freak, whatever that is, I did this lovely drawing around her. This is Fed President Dolly. Again, she's very gender confused. She flips a coin in the morning and decides which way she wants to go. It wants to go. Fed Dolly says the U.S. economic data now justify an interest rate cut. Let me explain this to you. The Federal Reserve has been foaming. Foam is coming out of their mouth about how badly they are looking for an excuse to inflate even more, to devalue the currency, to buy more debt. You understand? Akash, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know. Yeah, everything's just normal and it's beautiful, isn't it? Now, let's talk about on the economic front here. Does this surprise you? This is today. The U.S. budget deficit is nearly $1.3 trillion so far this year. And here's why it is poised to get even bigger. Debts. For how many years have you and I talked about this? You're laughing. You see a headline like this and you're laughing because it's not going to stop. And again, all people want is the truth. And we cannot get the truth. Now, let's talk more about that real quick. Earlier, a few thousand of you responded to this, and I'm happy. I ran this thing here. So I wrote this. Regarding Fed Chairman Powell's repeated comments about inflation being transitory and temporary, and I asked this for a reason. Do you believe that he just made a mistake? Or were his comments deliberately misleading? Now, the reason why I asked this question is I don't know what's going on here, but people are writing to me saying that Powell just made a mistake. Now, my question was it really a mistake? Here, he just made a mistake because he's human. 3% of you said no. 97% of you said he was deliberately misleading and lying to us. Again, where's the accountability here? Again, look, if we had, let me ask you this again. Why is it that none of our loving, caring representatives, when they're fist feeding us nonsense like inflation is halted, why is it in your opinion that no one is telling you about how it is not halted? How meanwhile the breakdown, according to CNBC, tells us that consumer prices are rising 3% year over year. Where's the accountability? There's no truth here. This is all of it is deliberate. Everything you're seeing, hearing, anything that comes out of that box that's in your house, more than likely, that is it's all lies. Okay, it's all propaganda. It's all deception. It's all distortions of the truth. Mitch knows and I'll talk about on a scale. Here, this is where I wrote it. On a scale that we can't believe. All people want is the truth, but they can't get it. Here, see? All people want is the truth. I write these little notes to myself sometimes, but they can't get it from anywhere. And anyway, today, when I saw, and I'm sure all of you too, that are paying any attention to the MMRI, this is the key. This is the key. This is truth here. If you want to see truth, here it is. Okay. When I witnessed what happened, the second, it was almost like someone had their finger on the button to buy. Obviously, it was the Federal Reserve buying more debt here. The nanosecond that the CPI number came out, all of a sudden the 10-year yield just went boom, like fell through the floor, and the dollar, again, on a relative strength basis, fell. I went over and I looked at this and I saw the trajectory here where we're going. This is not going to stop. Okay. The environment we are in, first of all, the lies behind it and the tales about how great we're doing. 78% of people are living paycheck to paycheck here. That's according to their own numbers. That's how strong we are. Our economy is that strong. You can't make this stuff up. The Federal Reserve now tossing around the idea of allowing the major Wall Street institutions to implement a mark-to-market accounting scheme. Basically, book imaginary profit on their book so they can just add digits to a screen, pretty much, come up with any idea and put some money to work in it, whatever it is, add gazillion zeros across the board so they can make it appear as if they're much more profitable than they are. And of course, their stock's going to go to the moon. Do you see what's going on here? And the executives can all get their big fat bonuses. And our so-called loving, caring leaders, Biden, Trump, can go have their backdoor meetings, their secret meetings with the big bank CEOs, with the Wall Street CEOs, where you and I get stuck here getting fist-fed garbage. Okay, and we're forced to eat it. Jeffrey, it's way worse than a derivative. Exactly, it's made up. At least a derivative is something that derives value from something else. If you can make up numbers out of thin air, like the Fed is obviously doing it, it's Lucifer's central bank digital currency. There's no doubt about it. There is no doubt about it. I've been explaining that, me and Gerald Celente, a bunch of other guys have been telling you for a while now that that's what's being set up here, but they have to deconstruct the current system. You have to be told how great everything is, how strong our economy is, how inflation has halted, even though it's not true. The lies, the tales, the deceptions, the propagandas. Does this sound familiar to you? Because it's something that we've been talking about since forever. You think it's going to stop anytime soon? No, it isn't. So understanding that, people, look, I keep going back to this because let me explain this. When I first came out with the MMRI, I want to give all of you the absolute best information that I possibly can. Okay, even though when I came out with this thing, and this was essentially for me, okay, I wanted a way to look into the market, gauging where I should put my money to work based on risk, okay? Now, when I came up with this little tricky thing here, when I published it so all of you can follow it, I was a little nervous because, look, it hadn't been tested very, very long. But this thing, the more that I look at it every day, because I follow this like you do, I look at this all throughout the day, okay? And it's been spot on. What I'm saying here is you don't even need to anymore look at what's happening in the debt market or the 10-year yield or the US dollar. It's all summed up in here using the golden ratio. Those of you who may or may not be familiar with the golden ratio, it just worked for the equation. And it's spot on. And again, this is not really such a good thing. All right. What this means is the dollar is becoming weaker. It means that the Fed is out here buying a lot more debt, keeping that doorway open for cash to make its way into the stock market, creating more distortions, creating more fakery, and then obviously vastly inflating the debt, which is what central banks collectively are doing to the world. They're killing us all. They're destroying us. They're taking away our liberties. They're taking away our freedoms. And again, people are being driven to hate each other and blame this and then blame that. Again, what was devoid, completely missing from the so-called debate? The Federal Reserve, how they're the ones responsible for everything that we're seeing. It's not presidents who run the economy. It's not presidents who run the financial system, the financial markets, or the monetary system. Everything that we're seeing now, and Trump and Biden were blaming each other, what they really should be doing is leveling with the American people and saying, your enemy is not either one of us. They should be coming together and collectively trying to dismantle the enemy. The enemy here of the people of this entire world are central banks, and they're laughing. They're laughing at all of us. They control everything, people. I don't know another way to put this to you. Imagine if we had a real group of people who worked for the American. We're supposed to work for ourselves. We're supposed to govern ourselves. But again, what have they done? They're dumbing people down to a point where they don't know what gender they are anymore. They can't decide. They can't look down and see whatever. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter what's there. They don't know what bathrooms to use anymore. We're forced to accept things that would make you vomit just a few years ago, even on TV commercials. You know what I'm talking about? I think you're getting hip to what I'm talking about here. But today, if you don't accept this, then you're a bigot. You're this, you're that. But this is how they're making people hate each other. It's the mechanism. Imagine again the power we could have if we came together. If we really just listen to, I know all of you here have more than likely 90% or better of you have some kind of a belief in a higher power, and maybe messengers that have come down here and been put forth and told us what we should be doing. Are we really living that way? I don't think so. Imagine if we were. You think this world would be in the shape it's in right now? I don't think it would be. I identify as a billionaire. I love that. Yeah, exactly. You know, yeah, sure. Mark to market. Mark to market accounting would allow you to be a billionaire right now. Sure, you're a billionaire. You can make up anything you want. Do it all again. It's just an amazing thing. But we're being, you know, again, systematically led to the slaughter by the Bidens, by the Trumps, by the leaders around the world, so-called leaders here, because no one has got the guts to stand up and tell you what's really going on here. They're going to allow you to be lied to. Not only are they going to allow it, they're going to help it along. They're going to foster it along. If you think yet again, that debts and deficits, the destruction of humanity, is it going to get worse moving forward? And still, no one's going to tell you the truth, and you don't know what's happening to you at all. You've fallen through many trapdoors and you can't get out. You won't be able to find your way out until you free your mind and understand that you've been put where you are by design, and maybe you lack the brain power to get yourself out. I hope that's not the truth. I hope you can get yourself out. And I understand that we need to take back this system. And the only way we can do that is by coming together, is by uniting, by loving each other, caring about each other, being charitable, like I say every Friday. And I'm going to tell you that tomorrow if you're here with me, and we're going to do it together. All right, people, look, I don't know what else to say. More propaganda, imagine our shock. You know, the problem is people expect this. I expected it. So did you. So when I sit here and I demonstrate for you how you are being lied to, inflation has not halted. All this is doing is allowing creatures, things, vomitous, puking masses like this gender-confused individual right here, okay, Dali, giving them an excuse to justify cutting rates. And all cutting rates means is the Fed is going to be allowed to create more cash out of nothing, add digits to a screen in any amount. Okay, they're issuing debt. That's how the Fed, in this case, or any central bank, issues debt. Ken knows what I'm talking about. So does Mitch. Thank you. And then they go around the back door and they buy the debt back. It's a revolving door mechanism. And this relentless machine is massively, massively inflationary. Imagine if Trump had the guts to tell you that. Imagine if Biden had the brain power to tell you that, which he does not. And I'm not putting him down. I think the man suffers from age-related dementia. I really do. I'm done putting him down. Anyway, I'm preaching to the choir here, people. I know I am. Anyway, what else can I tell you? Yeah, the repo market. The repo market is just a scam. I've tried to expose the repo market for years and years. It's a game. It's a trick. I want you to think about what I'm going to sum this up for you in a paragraph for those of you that maybe are new here who do not know what is involved in a repo operation, which is a mechanism which exists between a central bank and the big, in this case, or it could be any central bank and the large financial institutions. What they do, I want you to think about this. Overnight, they pass back and forth vast amounts of currency trillions of dollars. Why would they do that? Why is it that these institutions are passing around a single amount of cash back and forth? It's to trick the system into believing it's more liquid than it is. Liquidity is drying up. Okay. And we are marching directly into a credit freeze moment, a locking up of the system where nothing is going to work. Transactions stop. That was the real danger of what was occurring during the last meltdown. Well, they had everyone looking at the stock market, 12,000 all the way down to 6,000 when the Fed jumped in here with QE1. That really wasn't what they were distracting you with that. But the problem was liquidity was drying up. The Fed with their, why did our loving, caring members of Congress vote to inject massive trillions of dollars into the system to free up liquidity? You understand? Because the system was locking, and interbank lending was stopping, into business lending was stopping. You would have gone to your ATM, swiped all you want, wouldn't have worked. You could have went to your bank and tried to get cash out. Gone, not there. It's just finished. You couldn't go to the store and buy anything. Transaction would stop. That's where we're going again. Look, thank you, Giuseppe. I've explained to people in as most simple way that I possibly can. What I do is I try to break down the system into its root cause and try to explain what may be complex, a complex system, but in its most basic form. But understanding how the repo action works, what we're really marching into, this credit crisis, a debt crisis, which we are in the biggest debt crisis the world has ever seen by exponents. Why do you think the Fed is looking for another excuse to cut rates, to inflate further? Central banks get exponentially stronger. Every dollar, every euro, every bit of currency that any central bank is allowed to issue, the exponentially stronger they become. Not weaker, not weaker. That was a lie that was being told to people during the Trump administration. Oh, I think it was those Q people, okay, who were saying, oh, Trump's trying to bankrupt the Fed. All he was doing was allowing the Fed to get stronger. Just like the current guy, just like the guy before him again. I told you the last 3 presidents have done more to make the Fed stronger than every president combined before them. That mechanism is not going to stop moving forward. This is why you get the blame game during the so-called debate. It's his fault why there's inflation. It's his fault why there's inflation. Who creates the currency? Sell Mortimer Sell knows exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you. Do you see what I'm talking about here, people? It's just so twisted on understanding. But the system, this thing, again, is destroying all of us. Wherever you may live around the world, under whatever central bank is controlling your life, because that's actually the government of the world, governments collective of the world. This is no secret. If you look, and please don't take my word for what I'm about to tell you. You're not supposed to know these kinds of things. They're hidden in plain sight. And today with the internet, everything is at your fingertips. Look up why it is that central banks were established. Why are there all these central banks around the world? What are they trying to achieve? Is there a common goal here? Absolutely. To control the world. At first, they had to control the monetary system. They had to develop or gain control of it. And they did this via, again, the fiat or so let it be just into existence system. Once they did that, they had us all by the throat. And what they're doing now is they're finishing it by devaluing the currency. Central banks in a race to the bottom. You all know this here. Sucking the purchasing power of their currency. This is why people can't survive. This neo-feudal system, they are eliminating this middle class system. I mean, for those of you that know your history, this is a new thing. We used to have a 2-tier system going back thousands and thousands of years. You know, extreme haves and have-nots, and a feudal system. The middle class was a new thing. People who were supposed to be able to be smart enough to govern themselves. But people have been dumbed down, again, to the point where they can't walk and chew gum at the same time anymore. And this is no surprise. This is what they're doing. It's an incredible thing. This whole thing is going to come down in so fast and so dramatically that people are not going to know what hit them. That's the truth. But you and I again are taking advantage of it, of the system that we have. Okay, they are forcing us to participate in it. Good. I say good. Let them play their games. We can play those games better. And that's what we've been doing. And not only are we taking advantage of, again, the market, the commodities. In my view, cryptocurrency should be in everyone's portfolio, especially right now with Trump. I sincerely, unless something goes massively wrong, I believe Trump is going to be selected. He's repeatedly calling himself the Bitcoin president. The Republicans altogether are getting behind him on this thing. I take him at the word. I know it's probably a lie, but okay, call me naive. I think we can see some serious gains here. Just gauging from the market cap of cryptocurrency, it doesn't mean we're going to change stopping betting against the debt or becoming our own central banks, holding hard assets. Silver, my favorite asset of all time, that'll never change. Staying long the stock market, as long as the Fed is creating this environment right here, it's going much, much higher. As the economy falls through the floor faster, the faster the economy craters to the floor, the higher the market's going to go. And we need a pullback. We have not seen a pullback in this market in I don't know how many weeks now, 8, 7, whatever it is, out of control. That's where we're at. And the fact is, you and me, okay, this thing that we've built, this is a worldwide family. And trust me on this one, that the people are here. All of you possess something that is missing from a lot of people out there. Number one, it's your God-given gift of intellect. You understand the truth. You hear it, and it makes sense to you. Okay, that is huge. Most people walk through time and space, as I said, not knowing who they are, what they're doing, or why they're doing it. They've been dehumanized into a drone-like state. You understand? You and me, we look at this whole thing from a much bigger perspective. Not just, look, as I always tell you, I like the markets and everything associated with them because it's a game, and I like games. I used to study strategy games like you can't even believe, war games in particular. I love that kind of stuff, and to me, looking at all this stuff and and understanding especially what our enemy is trying to do makes our job so much easier. But then again, we transcend all that. This is a family where people care about each other legitimately. We stay here. We're all together. We say how we need to bring each other together. We need to come together. We got to stop hating each other because whatever reason they're trying to tell us to hate each other, we got each other's backs. And this is how we can change the world. I really believe this with every fiber of who I am. And we're making a difference. Maybe I only got 250,000 subs, and there are people out there doing nonsensical things with millions. But these are people who are going to lose. There is a grand selection, or should I say a natural selection going on. Some people, even me, we probably are not, a lot of us are not going to get through what's coming here, okay? And I sincerely believe we're going to see a depopulation event. It's all about control. More pain, more suffering, more mental slaves to the system. People can't free themselves from it. It's an incredible thing. Liam, thank you. Love right back at you. Anyway, look, I'm sitting here and I'm preaching to the choir. But I like to kind of be the daddy here. I really enjoy it. And it helps, keeps me kind of sane in a way. And to know that I am with like-minded people. And again, that's our strength. It is our strength. And with that, we are freaking invincible. Right, Ken? You know what I'm talking about. All right, people, we're going to end this here. Before we go, I know this has kind of been a really long video. Is there anything in particular that you guys and girls want to talk about before we get out of here? Gio, I don't know. Thank you, man. Love all you guys and girls. You have no idea, honestly. Anyway, yeah, it is coming, but we're ready from every angle. And I mean that. From every angle, we're ready. If the market crashes 40% tomorrow, does it really matter? First of all, again, if it did, I'd be looking at this first. Okay, do we get a big spike here? Or does that 40% mean we should be buying? All we're looking for with regard to the MMRI, for those of you that are new here, is a spike. A spike here means that debt is selling off in a rapid fashion and yields are spiking. When that happens, it's very simple to understand. It'll be the opposite of what's happening now. Massive pressure on world stock markets, and cash is just going to move from one set of assets into another, as I've been telling you for 10 years. It doesn't fly away. Grow little beautiful money wings and just fly away to money heaven. There is no such thing. It's just going to move. And you and I have that covered, okay, by betting against the debt, by becoming our own central banks here, by holding gold, silver, having exposure to commodities. You get it? Until it doesn't. Exactly. And that's the beauty of all this. Anyway, money heaven. All right, guys and girls, we're going to get out of here. All right, look, thank you for being here. Thanks for your support, your love. Thank you for those thumbs up. I appreciate that. Let's see if we can work on that again. The thumbs up allow the algorithm to pick up the video. And that's where you come in. Share this stuff. Comment. The comments are important too. When the algorithm see, hey, there's a lot of comments here, just say anything. All right. Hello. Say hello to each other out here. Let's come together like I've been telling you. You know what I mean? Make some friends, because everybody here, we're all like-minded. And these are the people you want to surround yourself with. You understand? All right. Love you a lot from the heart. I mean that with all I got. I'll see you in the morning. And until we meet again in the morning, take care of yourselves and each other. Okay? That's it.